All right, I'll start. I'll tell you the same thing that I told the team when I went into the locker room. The first thing I said to them is that winning a basketball game is hard. It's not easy. And so this was a perfect example of it. It's hard. And to try to stack some together, it's difficult. And then I'm reminded of it every time I look around and I see the landscape of college basketball, and you got teams around the country sweating games like this out and feeling fortunate to come out on the right side of it. And so, and oftentimes not coming out on the side that they planned on. So that's a scrappy bunch. They're a good team. They're going to win a lot of games. They'll do well in their conference. And they came in ready to compete the entire time. They came in ready to compete. Never, ever, ever back down, not for 1 second. So give them a lot of credit for that. But we did some good things. We had some things certainly that we'll learn from in the film clips tomorrow. But again, I have a hard time not at the end of the day rejoicing in the fact with these guys that they did enough and found a way to come out on top.
Lamont seemed like it was definitely a struggle to get into an offensive rhythm. When you get in a game like that, how much does it help to have a guy like Talon who's been there, played in over 100 games, and can kind of steady everything and get everything back on track?
Yeah, it's good. I think experience is just great. We have a lot of experience with this group, but at the same time, we're still learning. We're mixing in some young guys too, but even some of our older guys are still being in situations where they say, okay, I shouldn't have done that there probably. But Talon's been around. He's been around. He's played in a lot of games. He's played at a variety of different levels. This is third school, so he's no stranger to bringing the ship home and helping his group bring the ship home. And it's nice to have some guys like that, and certainly he's a huge part of our maturity down the stretch, just able to figure it out enough down the stretch.
Morris was playing a little more in the first half with the way the foul situation was, handling the ball a little bit. Where is he in his development right now, and what kind of a piece can that be in SEC play, or can he be?
Yeah, he can be a big piece for us. You know, you look in the last game, he comes in, he gets 4 assists in a game where we were in the mud a little bit offensively, and he comes in. His natural gifts are when he gets in ball screens, he lets his instincts take over. That's when he's at his absolute best. And contrary to what the numbers may have shown today, he's a good shooter. He's a good shooter, and he's a really, really hard worker. But I think he's just another guy that can handle the ball, make some reads off of ball screens. He can stretch the floor, so you don't feel like you have a guy out there that they can't guard. So I think he could be a vital piece. I think, the biggest part with him, this was part of the reason why his original plan was to redshirt, is just continuing to get stronger, and he's going to be at a physical disadvantage in almost every matchup that he plays when it comes to SEC play, for sure. And so I think you have to have will to overcome that. You look at their guy, Talford. Most games like this, he's physically outmatched. But he's just a competitive guy. He's a competitor, and he finds a way. And so that's what we expect out of Mo also. He's a really tough, competitive kid, and he can really help us.
Yeah, Lamont, like you said, you guys have been able to keep finding a way in these last few games, even though they've been really close. What do you kind of attribute to being able to finish the job and leg out the win in the final few minutes of these last few games?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I don't think our guys panic. I don't think they panic, and that allows you to settle things back down, regardless of what the crowd does, or you give up. A double-digit lead gets cut to a 5-point lead, and when you have some poise, it allows you to still play and be concerned most with what the next thing you have to do is. When you don't have poise, you have to do the next thing, but all you're doing is really thinking about the last thing. It's the only thing you're thinking about, and that can paralyze you in terms of being a player and having to make some plays. And our guys have had a good – we're older and experienced. Again, I think that's helped it, but they've had good poise when things haven't gone our way.
Coach Winthrop does a really good job of getting to the line, as good as anybody in the country, and they shot almost 30 free throws tonight.
Yeah.
How were you guys? What was the game plan coming into this to try to keep them off the free throw line? And then late in the game, when you guys created some shot clock violations and some turnovers,
Yeah.
how were you guys able to kind of buckle down defensively without fouling?
Yeah. Well, I wrote it up on the board. This is where all the magic happens, and they only do exactly what I put up on the board. And I said one of them was don't foul shooters. That was one of the things, and so they only got 30 free throws tonight. So, but honestly, we did. We talked about not fouling shooters and trying to have your body in front of guys. They're very aggressive. Here's the understatement: year's almost over. I'm gonna sneak one more understatement of the year in right now. They're very aggressive to the basket, and it makes it hard to play them without fouling them. I thought the officials did a good job a couple times on holding back on the whistle because it looked real weird. There were bodies flying around, high-speed collisions, and they held back on whistles that, I think typically you would probably maybe blow something. But, we just tried to play with our bodies and less with our hands as much as we possibly could. And then, down the stretch we did. We had a couple really good possessions, got some shot clock violations. We had a couple other ones where we changed our ball screen coverage. We switched everything. We didn't want to give up threes, and that was effective for us for a couple possessions. It's nice to be able to switch to that. That's why the personnel was changing a couple times down the stretch. But, we buckled down and got some good defensive. In the crowd, I don't normally hear the crowd that much, but I did. When we would get a shot clock violation, I know the crowd really got into it, and that was awesome.
Hey, Coach, win number 10 for you, and putting it into perspective, having 11 total wins just last season, but now you guys are on pace to have 11 total wins before SEC play. What does win number 10 mean?
Yeah, I guess I never really thought too much about it that way. But, it's significant in terms of it's a tangible way to measure growth, right? We have some of these teams are similar teams to teams that we were playing last year, and we were not able to win. Whether those, particularly the mid-major games that we played last year, they moved and cut and passed and competed, and they played the game as if it was their Super Bowl, and we were not up to those challenges consistently last year. And so I think it signifies the growth that has taken place. And we got a lot more growth ahead of us this season. We want to finish the non-conference. I normally break the season into 3 distinct parts. You got your preseason stuff, your non-conference play. Then you have your conference play, which is kind of where you try to validate what you've already established. And then you have postseason play if you're fortunate enough to earn that. And so we got a couple more games in this first leg, and we'd love to finish it off on a real positive note. So I think it's significant. They tell me how many times we've started off 10-1, and I just try to keep it in perspective. And we got our own plan. We got a plan, and we are working every day to try to stick to that plan. And so we're on something different. And so it's nice that we've done that, but we're still trying to get better.
In the second half, it kind of felt like when you guys were struggling to shoot from the outside a little bit, you guys started to pass the ball more or kick it more on the inside to BJ, which allowed for some open looks. It took the put more guys on him basically, and allowed for open space on the outside. So do you feel like that was kind of the case in the final few minutes in there, and how important was it to get those looks inside from him and create some shots on the outside?
Yeah, I think it's really important. I think it's really important. I think when you go long stretches without scoring, they tend to go longer because everyone's looking at the last couple shots that didn't go in. And so one way to stop the proverbial bleeding at times is if you can get to the free throw line or if you can get something around the basket. And so we were able to do that with BJ. He made one really strong move where he pivoted a couple times, pump faked, went right into a guy, got some contact, still got the ball up on the rim. So it's nice to be able to do that. We talk about growth from last year to this year. That's something that we weren't really able to do with any consistency last year. Was to do that. So it's really valuable for our team anyway, to be able to do that, settle things down with a good possession, get to the free throw line, catch your breath a little bit, put it all in perspective, accept a little instruction that I might have during that time, and get ready to start playing and get to the next thing. But it's nice to be able to do that rather than we shot a lot of threes, but they were, for the most part, they were really good threes, and but sometimes it doesn't go in. So to be able to go inside and just to change kind of the fortunes of what's happening is important.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.